Nature's wealth, good for your health. This is the Raw Life Health Show.
Really not a vegetarian diet.
Sure.
Because you could live on a vegetarian diet, and if you had eggs, a lot of people could be safe. You could live, for instance, on a vegan diet. Some people could live 2 months before they start getting deficiencies. If they're on a raw food vegan diet, after 2 months they may start going into deficiencies. Other people can go as far as 2 years before the body breaks down. So if you ask me, am I against the vegan diet? No. Because if you have cancer and you go on a vegan diet, and you do it, say, for about a few weeks, and fast, you could get rid of a lot of toxins. But then, at a certain point, you must bring in the other things that are missing.
And how would you...
So every diet has value, but it has somehow have limited value. In a pure vegetarian diet, to live on it for a lifetime I don't recommend.
Okay, now you say after a couple of weeks people start getting deficiencies. How can you explain that there's...
It's not everybody. Some people go 2 months. Now some people can even go years before the... Well, a lot of people cheat. They'll cheat socially, and they don't look at it, or they don't want to look at it. A lot of them say vegan, but then if you check them carefully, you find that they're not vegan.
Yeah.
So people like to brag. I'd say the majority do cheat. And because I've met a lot of vegans and vegetarians, and they were not strictly vegetarians. And look, I was a very strict fruitarian, and I did it for 2 years one time, and then one year, and I had no deficiencies. That's probably because everything I ate is assimilated totally because I fasted more than any living human being, thousands of days of my life. I lived for 2.5 years on alternate fasting days. Fast one day, eat that day. Fast for 2.5 years. Dr. Kershaw did it for a year, he told me.
What about a vegetarian diet or vegan diet with supplementation? Is that adequate?
You mean
with supplements?
What kind of supplements?
Whatever they might be deficient in. For example,
the supplements, nutrition is not perfect like nature is. And all those who make supplements don't know that whatever they eat must be complete. It must have all the factors, otherwise it may not be assimilated. If you use supplements, a lot of it may turn out to be expensive urine or fecal waste.
But would you think that some of the things in the supplements, or the good supplements, the superfood powders and so on, could that make up for not eating animals, or you don't believe so?
Well, you can eat dried grasses, for instance, the greens, because when they do that with animals. Farmers feed hay to animals for the winter, and that's dried. It's not a good diet because you lose the water-soluble vitamins. But and there are animals that do survive, in very cold climates temporarily, but you can survive for a while, but you can't do too long, What we know about nutrition is probably 1/100th of 1% of what's going to be discovered in the next few hundred years. So to try to analyze the body from the laboratory, you can't trust it because they don't have all the factors, and a lot of the theories are wrong. And the quality of food they use, I've done a lot of medical research, the quality of food they use is so bad that I don't trust any of the research. They don't use our food. They use foods that have preservatives and chemicals added, so you never know what's causing the diseases they find.
Excellent point. Now, another question my viewers ask me about, which you're the best person to ask about this, is food combining. And you have something you've come up with called sequential eating. Right. Why don't you give information about sequential eating, how it's different than food combining, and also about food combining as well.
See, people think that the stomach is it's like a washing machine. Whatever you throw in, it mixes, but it doesn't, because Dr. Kershaw said that Maimonides recommended sequential eating. What is sequential eating? It's eating foods in layers, because that's how food digests. It does not mix in the stomach. Some of the fluids may mix in neighboring layers, but small amounts do. So if you eat food in a certain order, you could eat 3 pounds, 4 pounds of food, and at the end of 3 or 4 or 5 hours of eating, I found that out from eating one meal a day. By eating one meal a day, I wound up eating 3 meals on one meal. So I was able to do it. But I found out I was able to eat 4.5 hours average one meal by eating sequentially. And the interesting thing was I never got stuffed. Because as I was eating I ate the first thing, then I ate the second food, and by the time I got to the third food, the first food was leaving the stomach. Then when I got to the fourth food, the second food was leaving, so my stomach was never stretched because it was like a steady process, one layer after another leaving, whereas if I ate the wrong sequence, then the food gets trapped and it does not leave. Because the rule is that the slowest digesting food has to leave first. And if you eat that after a long digesting food, it will not leave the stomach.
You mean the quickest digesting food has to leave first?
Right.
You said the slowest.
Oh, that's what I meant.
The quickest digesting.
Now, Maimonides, he gave the secret very simply. He said, eat the most liquid food first and the most dense food last. So that means the simplest food first, like vegetables or fruit, and then eat whatever you end with, whether it's nuts or fish or chicken, eat that last. But actually that digests quicker than even vegetables. Would you believe if I told you that if you eat raw meat, raw chopped meat, you know how long it takes to digest it? 20 minutes. But if you eat it cooked, it takes 4 to 6 hours.
Wow.
Because you're changing the fat. And so the raw food, the raw life has an entirely different chemistry, and it's hardly understood today.
Wow. Okay. Wow.
So now you see a lot of people, vegetarians, are against animal foods. They say animal foods are poison, you know. But if you eat animal foods the way the animals do, and in nature, the only doctors animals have, all the species, and there are millions of them, their only doctor is nature and fasting. That they don't have any other doctors. There's nothing else. Some might eat herbs for physic and so forth. But that's all they have. And when you realize that the human being was supposed to be no exception, and probably at one time in history, man was living on 100% raw foods, and maybe Methuselah, in the age of Methuselah, that might have been the time when they were living on 100% raw.
Now, is this sequential eating thing a theory or scientifically proven?
It was scientific because I found it. Dr. Curcio told me a physiology book that had it. And I happened to have that in my library, and I studied it, and it was being taught in medical universities, the system. But that was the only book that spoke of it. All the other physiology books made no mention of sequential eating. What we would consider the ultimate diet, the Egyptians had all organic food. They had goat milk, they had honey, they had grains, everything, and all 100%, nothing refined, full grained, and these people had very degenerate diseases like diabetes and hardening of the arteries, on a diet which today we would consider the ultimate organic food diet. And that was in that chapter of the Mummy. When you read the foods that they ate, which the foods we pay a lot of money for in the health food stores, was not a good diet.
Give out your website and your phone number for anyone that wants to contact you.
Yeah, my phone number is 718-648-1500.
Okay, and your website is, say your website.
drbass.com.
What I have to say to you and my viewers is, your age, your energy, and the way you look speaks for itself. There's no one else out there who has obtained 91 years of age, thriving on a somewhat raw food diet. He's done vegan diet over the years. He's done a meat-based diet over the years. He's experimented with cooked meats, with raw meats, vegan, non-vegan. Everyone out there. I'm not saying I agree 100% with him, but I am saying this man is living proof that, you know, if you treat the body the way it was meant to be treated, and you continuously study and learn, you can obtain amazing results.
This is Stanley Bass. Have a great day and a great raw life.
Nature's wealth, good for your health. This This is the Raw Life Health Show.